Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Constructed Clash. Oh my gosh, it's back. So today I'm going to do battle with Matt Kling, former host of Constructed Criticism, and my new Constructed Clash battle partner. Battle partner? He's my battle partner. We'll call it that. Really, he's my enemy. He's the guy I'm going to battle. And today we're going to play Gruul. So this is a personal favorite deck of mine and friend of the podcast, host of the Even Odds Pod, top 4 SEG competitor, Mason Clark. We believe this is one of, if not the best decks in Standard. Today I'm playing an updated list, trying some of Mason's innovations, trying some new innovations that I haven't tried before on Gruul overall. So I present to you Gruul by Kesha. So the reason I call it Gruul by Kesha is because it's a Warriors deck. So if you're familiar with Kesha, she came out with the song Warrior, and that's it. That's the whole reason. So we have 4 Pelt Collector, 2 Shivan Fire, 2 Direfleet Daredevil, 3 Growth Chamber Guardian, 2 Kraul Harpooner, 3 Lava Coil, 4 Goblin Chainwhirler, 4 Gruul Spellbreaker, 2 Domri Chaosbringer, 4 Rekindling Phoenix, 2 Skarrgan Hellkite, 2 Collision Colossus, 2 Thrash Threat, 2 Gruul Guildgate, 10 Mountain, 4 Rootbound Crag, 4 Stomping Ground, and 4 Unclaimed Territory. So the thing you'll notice here is the first is probably the number of lands. So we have 24 lands. It's more than 23. And I think it's correct. I think that you really want to hit your land drops in this deck. So even though we have Pelt Collector and all these aggressive creatures, I still think it's pretty important to play a little bit more lands than you might expect, because we've got 6 4-drops plus 2 Thrash Threats and dragons that you want to activate, and the activated ability of Growth Chamber Guardian to just really come out and make a pretty big number of mana intensive things overall in the deck. The other thing that you'll notice here is I'm playing some cards that are a little bit different. Thrash Threat is different from some of the lists. Pelt Collector and Domri are different from some of the lists. I've already done a deck tech actually talking about why I think Domri Raid is great, and Pelt Collector helps Domri Raid. And Pelt Collector also lets you be a little bit more aggressive in certain matchups. So it's really helpful in the matchups where you really want to be low to the ground and aggressive. It's really funny. Some of your best draws are turn 1 Pelt Collector, turn 2 Pelt Collector, Pelt Collector. Or turn 2 Pelt Collector, tap land. A Gruul Guildgate, right? And when you have those draws, you just end up with a bunch of 4/4s. And that's usually good enough to win the game. The reason you're able to play Pelt Collector in this deck, though, is actually because of Unclaimed Territory. Because Pelt Collector and Goblin Chainwhirler are warriors. So you have no lands in your deck that don't cast Goblin Chainwhirler, and you have just enough sources that you can get away with playing Pelt Collector. It's still kind of rough, right? We actually only have 8 untapped sources to cast them on turn 1. But the thing is, you don't actually mind playing Pelt Collector second, because sometimes you actually want to save things like your Kraul Harpooner or your Growth Chamber Guardian as later drops in the deck anyway, because you want to use them as removal spells. So for those reasons, I'm pretty happy with how this ends up. The sideboard that we have here is 4 Cindervines, 2 more Kraul Harpooners, 1 more Lava Coil, 1 Sorcerous Spyglass, 2 Fiery Cannonade, 2 Legion Warboss, 2 Karn, and 1 Status Statue. And I think that the important things here are the 4 Cindervines. Those are basically a must. And it is a reason that I've actually considered playing a forest in the deck. 2 Kraul Harpooner. This is really important for things like mono blue and to make your deck even more aggressive some of the time. And then, the Lava Coil just gets rid of more big creatures, really good in the mirror. Sorcerous Spyglass is something that Mason actually played at the SEG, or Teresa did specifically. And when Teresa played this, I looked at that, I was like, that's a really good answer for some of your problem cards. One of the things about something like Search for Escanta is that it actually is really good against you once it flips. And this is an answer that lets you proactively answer that, or something like Teferi. So between that and the status statue to get your memes on with the Goblin Chainwhirler, you have a pretty diverse sideboard of things that you can try and do to get a little bit of edge in different matchups. I think that you can also go more aggressive. You have the Legion Warboss, you have the Kraul Harpooners, and then you can go more controlling, right? You have the Fiery Cannonades; those are also adopted from Teresa's sideboard, and then you have the Lava Coil and the Karns, depending on kind of the way the matchup breaks out. Usually, if you're playing against aggro, you're going to bring in the Lava Coil and the Fire Cannonade in some of the matchups, as well as the Status Statue. And then against things like Nexus of Fate decks, you're just going to bring in those Cindervines and try and ride them to victory along with the Legion Warboss and the Kraul Harpooners to be really, really aggressive. The other difference that we have is in the main deck, actually. We have 2 Shivan Fires over Shocks. I have not found Shock to be good in any matchup where it wouldn't just be better. Basically, Shock's not good against Esper. Shock's not good against Nexus of Fate. And the cards, even though it's not dead because you can deal 2 damage, it's basically dead. You don't actually want to be dealing them 2 damage. You actually want to be making impactful plays. And when you draw it, it's just like, well, this is going to your face. There's 1 mana for 2 damage coming at you. But it's not actually good, and I'd rather have higher impact things and stuff like the Mirror that's becoming more popular. So that's it for my deck tech for this week on Constructed Clash. Gruul by Kesha. We're going to see if we can beat Matt. I think I know what he's playing. I think we have a good matchup. In fact, I think it might be one of my best matchups. But, you know, when you're playing against the deck I think Matt is, anything can happen. So, thank you everybody for watching the deck tech. Let's get into the Clash.